When I realise I have to give a talk, the first thing I like to do is to get outside. There are two very good reasons for this. The first is that just leaving the building, wherever you are, I find is just instantly a little calming. It helps you get a sense of perspective on the scale of things, and perhaps helps you realise that the talk you're going to give isn't life or death, as it might feel, but actually slightly less significant. Also, if you go for a walk when you're outside, it feels like you're addressing the problem. There's something primal, instinctive about that. Sometimes I think we worry about stuff and think, well, I'm worrying about it, therefore I'm dealing with it. And of course you're not. You're arguably making the problem worse. And if you walk, go for a few miles, it can feel like you're achieving something and you're tackling this impending engagement that might feel like it's going to be really unpleasant. So getting outside is a great benefit in terms of just calming you down. If you can get into a green space, then obviously even better. Just being in nature is relaxing, right? It's just nicer, it's better. Being with some wildlife, being in a green space just helps your mood, pure and simple. But it can also help when it comes to creating the material for your talk, because that's the next step. You've got to create it, right? And you might fear that your subject is boring, that the audience won't be interested, and you're just going to be talking at them for 10 minutes, 20, 40 minutes, whatever. If you can get outside, you might find that you're presented with some interesting random objects that can give you a different angle on your subject and make it relevant for your audience. So for example, if you are in a built-up area, if you're in a town or city, look at the architecture. Look at how people move around. Listen to conversations. Look at the news and advertising. Look at the bus stop. Look how all these things relate to each other. You might find there's a perspective there. So the bus is a vehicle and it has fuel and it's a system and a process that makes it work. Skyscraper has, or a large building has, an office rather, has people on lots of different floors. It has people who help the building run. It has its own system within it of utilities that help it work. Maybe there's a parallel there with your subject. Litter, weather, wildlife, I don't know. There could be all kinds of things that could spark something that make the subject connect to your audience and their everyday experience of life. If you're out in a green place like this, then of course you're presented with a ton of wildlife and plants, trees, flora, fauna. Those things all have systems and processes and needs. Perhaps there's even a childhood experience that you can tap into where you experienced wildlife or nature, and you use that to connect the subject to your audience. So, bottom line is, get outside, right? It'll help calm you down, and it could provide you with some wonderful ideas to make your subject really engaging for your audience.